back at the Bentonville Master Frame Builder Show, and I'm with this guy named Ryan over here from Galaxy Bikes. And again, like some of these other builders, it's just like I have some better history with, but I did a story, how long ago was that, last year or 2 years ago now?
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. I just saw, again, random scrolling on the screen, and I saw this incredible, out of this world mountain bike, and I was like, I gotta chase that guy down. And I did, and we did a story on his mountain bike. But again, with so many of the builders here, the bike's great kind of bitchin' bike, it's wild, but it's their personal stories, which I always kind of sweep me away. The bikes are rad, but Ryan's this kind of guy. He's got this great life story. We'd probably be here for about a week and a half if we actually went through the whole thing, because it's just, anyways, building bikes for the e-bike for your dad. Remember that?
Yeah,
that was
it's over here.
Oh, there it is, full circle. Because I remember he was telling me about it. I built an e-bike for my dad, and I'm just like, oh, that's so bitchin'. Father, son, they're riding bikes. Here's the bike. But anyways, this is a bike. This bike, honestly, it's a beautiful bike. It says nothing about what he is capable of in terms of what the mountain bikes I've seen him build before. He's built in the middle. Just moved back to Bentonville area. He's building his own shop. But instead of me going on about it, how about a quick little life story about what the heck, who you are and what you're doing?
Well, so as we talked on the phone, but for the viewers out there, I grew up here in Northwest Arkansas, and my brother and I like to say we're genetically carpenters.
Okay.
So my dad was a custom home builder, and we just grew up building stuff. Honestly, we were running skill saws when we were 6 and 7 years old, and cutting boards and nailing and standing up walls and building houses, and we learned how to have the confidence to tackle big projects. And when you build a house, you start with a blueprint, you start with a plan, and you just chip away at it. They're big projects, right? And so a big custom home could take a year and a half, and you just go do today, then you do tomorrow, then you do the next day, and it sort of, we grew up with that. Start with a plan, go step by step. Sure, today might be hard, but you got to come back tomorrow and get back at it. You can't let an afternoon of frustration or a misstep slow you down. Really, you got to stay at it. And so I've taken that, those sort of experiences and that learning and just applied it to everything else in life. So every time I build a bike, I might have a misstep, or I might gouge something with a file, or I might miscut a tube, but I just, just like learning as a kid, I set everything, go down, take a lunch break, and come back at it, and so that's why I just love building stuff, and I like trying different things, and somebody just did a wall ride on the airplane. Yes, on the backside. I like to do wacky things from time to time because it excites me to do something different each time. There are certain challenges and frustrations even with building a truly custom bikes, because each bike is 100% unique and going beyond custom geometry. If I built this bike with the same head tube and the same dropouts and the same bottom bracket shell and the same seat tube topper and just custom geometry, well, in that would lie some familiarity that would help the process go faster or whatever, but I rarely do that. I like stuff that's truly unique every time. And so that's how I arrived at that mountain bike that caught your eye. Yeah. I wanted to, I did a trip to Moab with a friend, and on the driving from Albuquerque up to Moab, he had asked me, he just inquired, out of the blue, like, are you ever going to build a full suspension bike? And I told him that I had been thinking about it, and I had aspired to do it one day. And we rode for 2 days, and I rode a whole enchilada on my hardtail. And by the time I got back down to the highway, I was thinking, I definitely should build a full suspension bike. And then on the way home, we were just talking, and he's not a real technical guy, but he was just allowing me to talk to him about how I thought I might do the hardware for the pivot and stuff. And that, as you know, involved into I utilized a Chris King two 0 stack 44 head tube or headset parts for the pivot. And I got home and I drew it out, and worked through the kinematics in software called Linkage, and just, you know, like looked on the shelf and see what kind of tubes I had. And part of the reason that bike was so weird looking was because in my mind, I was just dead set on using the tubing that I had in the shop.
Right, nice.
And I thought, you know what, it won't hurt to make it different. I want to use what I've got and create something totally unique. And it was cool and an absolute success in that, you know, that it was, you know, caught people's eyes and it was truly unique. It didn't last forever. I built in a bad stress riser, you know, and it was obvious when I finally cracked that frame. There's a place called Fitzgerald Mountain that's just south of here, and there was a really cool boulder feature, and kind of hooked off this boulder, and, you know, to, you know, 5 foot to flat kind of thing. And on a 130 bike, you know, it's going to be a pretty big hit. And I cracked the bike there,
okay.
But when I looked at it, I was like, okay, well, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It makes sense now. Yeah, I should have recognized that. And, you know, I think that's part of my style too. I don't mind failing, and I don't mind admitting that I've had failures. And that's part of trying to do unique stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like, get crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
In a safe way.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Right. Which then leads us, what are we looking at here today then?
Well, so you know, I'm heavily involved in a new workshop construction process. So I haven't, and I'm doing it all by myself. So I haven't built a bike in a year, but I wanted to have something fresh for the show. And this is a road bike for my wife. We're starting a family. She's gonna have a little baby boy in November. Yeah, we're gonna have a baby boy in November. And we're both super excited about it, but she's been wanting a new road bike for a while, and I told her, well, this is just the time to do it. But we can leave your old bike on the trainer, and then you'll have this new bike for pretty days when you get out there and ride, and it'll give you something to look forward to. And it gave me a good excuse to get in the shop for a week or two and build this bike and have something new for the show. And then I've just brought a couple of older things here to show as well.
So what is it about this bike? So what are we looking at? The ingredients.
It's just a 325 titanium road bike, kind of standard, you know, relaxed kind of road bike. We're not, you know, I don't race much anymore. She doesn't race, so she loves riding a fast, skinny tired bike on the roads, and we have beautiful roads to ride on. But you know, it's just custom geometry for her. It's all 325 straight gauge titanium. I just, you know, I tried out polishing some of this stuff on the back, and I was inspired kind of thinking about my first road racing bicycle was a Columbus SL Italian frame, and it had a chrome plated bottom assembly, the bottom bracket, and basically what you see here, it was chrome, and then the rest of it was painted with the cheesiest blue lacquer that you've ever seen in your life. It would flake if you just looked at it cross-eyed. Yeah. But it was banded and kind of like this. Right. So this sort of, you know, is a throwback to that first road racing bikes that I had, and I just did a little NO work here for her. She loves gold. She loves purple and blue, and I just wanted to build something that she'd be excited about riding. Yeah.
What is it about bicycles that makes you, like, what is it about the bike is what question I always ask.
I love people talk about the simplicity of the machine, you know, how efficient it is. And I think that at the root of it, that's what really turns me on. I mean, it was the first sense of freedom that I ever had.
Here.
You know, for all of us, right? Yeah. You jump on a bike when you're 4 years old and you're like, it's mind-meltingly cool, right? And I still get that when I get on my bike. I still get that thrill, and it doesn't matter if I go out for a 10-mile road ride, or I get on a big gravel adventure, or I get lost in the woods somewhere. It's all good to me. Yeah. And I still get that same, you know, it's just fulfilling. Yeah. I need it. Yeah. You know.
It's interesting. I was walking around Benton downtown here, and I walked past a preschool, and his big playground, all these little groms, like, you know, 3-year-old groms all over the place, and they had these little red tricycles, right? And there are all these kids, and so it was like a big grass in the middle, but a cement, you know, perimeter around it, and there's just this line of kids on these tricycles, you know. And I'm thinking back, you know, it's like, that's what you know, same thing I did, and right. You know, 85 years ago, it seems like.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, as I'm watching these little kids and they're getting super excited, and like one of them are like, no, let me ride it, no, let me, they're fighting over one of them,
Yeah.
And I'm just like thinking, like, fast forward, it's like, I want, I'm just, hopeful of course, but just thinking like, okay, how much of this is going to be a seed for those little Groms, like it was for me, for so many of us, right? Because it all starts like when we're, like you just said, 4 years old, and then for me it was like 8 years old, Schwinn Stingray,
Yeah.
And just again, it's just the magic of the bicycle that carries us all the way in so many different ways. But as I watch those little kids on those tricycles, I was just thinking, it's like, knowing that this is where we're going to be today, I'm like, it's just this, and whether it's in Italy, in France, right, and whether you're a stinking racer or you're out in Moab, like it's just.
I'm really looking forward to, as soon as I get my new shop done, I'm gonna build a balance bike for my little guy. And that's absolute number one priority. I'm gonna build a balance bike, but I'm gonna build a rocker base for it.
Yeah.
I'll just roll some long tubes. I think I'll build his little balance bike out of titanium and hang it with hang a bunch of sweet anodized American-made parts on it. But I want to be able to strap it down on a rocker, so as soon as he starts pulling up on stuff, I'll set his little hiney down on that seat and he can just rock on it back and forth like a rocking horse, except it'll be his bicycle. And as soon as he's ready to push and glide around, then he'll be ready to roll. It'll be awesome.
It's amazing how much like the Strider bikes and everything, again, didn't exist when we were.
It didn't exist.
It was either wheels or not, and now I see so many even micro Groms, just
the teeniest little kids. Learning the balance. I love it. Yeah. I would never recommend anybody get training wheels. Put a kid on training wheels, because it seems like it holds them back.
Yeah. So just for the sake of it, I know you're building your new shop. You're not building it right now. But if people want to see anything, know anything about Galaxy, how do they find you?
Well, so I have a website, galaxygearworks.com, and it's for the most part current.
Yeah.
And but I post current pictures on my social media, Galaxy Gearworks on Facebook or Galaxy Gearworks on Instagram.
Okay.
It's easy to search for and easy to find. There's a contact page on the website if anybody wanted to reach out and inquire about a bike. Right now while I'm doing a solo construction project with the workshop, I have turned a few people down or recommended that they talk to some of my other friends in the industry, and like, oh, he does this really good, or try to point people in the right direction. Right now, I'm not taking any deposits or trying to get a build queue going. But if somebody really wanted me to build something, I'd be honest about my timeline and tell them where I'm at, and if they were willing to wait, I'm keeping some conversations rolling, but those people know exactly where I'm at with the construction project on the new workshop. And
do you have pictures of that orange bike on your website anywhere?
I sure do.
There we go.
There's a whole gallery. It's that bike I called the Roswell.
Yeah.
And there's a whole gallery under my bikes drop down menu. You can roll down and see that Roswell, and then you can click read more, see more pics or something, and then there's probably 20 pictures on there.
Is that Roswell because when you were in New Mexico building it? Yeah, that's what I figured.
And it was just weird. It was alien looking,
Yes,
so I thought, this fits.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Again, that alienation thing that just drew me in. So anyways, I'd invite everybody to go to galaxygearworks.com and find the picture of that orange Roswell mountain bike, because it was one of the more innovative bike designs I've seen in a long time. And just thank you for coming down. I mean, you're local, but thank you for driving over here from home.
It was easy.
Beautiful wife over there with impending child, I can see, right? So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And thanks again for coming by.
Thanks, Zap.
All right, cheers.